guys, it's day 21. We're back at it. Before we get started, just want to let you know we are following all YouTube's guidelines, and we do not condone the use or cultivation of cannabis in any state that is not deemed legal for you to do so. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so we're day 21 and we're bumping in here, guys. You can see everybody is praying. All of our sites look great, and as I said in the last video, these Skywalkers were going to make a stretch for the light. Thankfully, they didn't quite make it to the light. They gave me a good 10 inches, maybe a foot in some places where they're not going to hit the light. But what I did was check the PPFD on the distance and just went ahead and lowered these lights to 80%. These two right here. So I think that's going to really help with any burn. For some reason, the Skywalker doesn't really like the light too much. If you guys can see, I'm running this at my other larger facility, and I already have bleach tips over there. But if you guys could look real close, let me see if I can get you guys zoomed in. So there's like already a little bit of light bleach coming through here. And I'm hoping to avoid that because, like I said, at my other spot, I have some giant, these things put out giant colas, and the tips are already getting bleached over there. So I went ahead and lowered the light. Hopefully that makes a difference. It's day 21. You can see this canopy has filled right back up, of course, just like I said it would. I really stripped these girls last week. If you remember what they looked like, they were like toothpicks, and it's banging in here. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Sorry about the late video. I was just pooped out yesterday. I had a harvest and a reset at the main facility, and it was a whole lot of work, so I just didn't get a chance to get in here and make you guys a video. And I know I say every Monday, but here we are. It's Tuesday. Hopefully I can get this up by the end of the night, and we can get you guys well informed on what's going on. But everything's really stacking, guys. If you can see, just like look at the internodal spacing on all these girls. It's just outstanding. I mean, our generative steering really did its job, keeping our nodes tight. Day 21, these bud sites are massive compared to my normal day 21, and that really has to do with what I've been talking about these last couple weeks, guys. It's just that generative steering and really giving them hard drybacks and really telling them and signaling to them like, hey, look guys, you're gonna die, so make sure you guys start putting on bulk now, you know. And it really sent them into full flower production, which is fantastic. Kept the stretch down. Usually these candies will be just as tall as the Skywalkers. After 12 days of veg, you would expect them to be, you know, a little bit shorter, something like this, you know. And these, just the PPFD on the edge of the table here is just a little bit low, so these plants just didn't quite stretch like everything else. And I know I said I wasn't going to come in here on day 21 to defoliate, but I'm going to wind up having to clear out some of this canopy here, you know. And day 21 is usually our day when we defoliate. But as I said before, this is our R&D facility, our R&D room. So what I'm doing is testing out some new defoliation tactics, along with a couple of other things. You know, the fulvic acid, the sea kelp, the other things that I mentioned in the past videos. Usually I just run crop salt, but what we're doing for this run is defoliating day 14, and then I'm gonna come in on day 30, and we're really just gonna like strip these girls of all of their fan leaves. And we're gonna skip out on our day 42 defoliation. And once they start ripening, I'll come through and I'll probably pick a couple of little leaves off here and there and just really clear out that canopy, just to make sure that all of our lowers are getting light, which I'm gonna have to do right now anyway. You know, I'm just gonna come through, you know, and just pick off some of these larger leaves up top, and just clear out some light in here, and, you know, just let some light get down in this thick canopy. You can see there's a lot of buds down there that really need some love from the light. So what I'll wind up doing in the next couple days is just every day come in, take a couple leaves off here and there. You don't want to spend too much time on it, and hopefully that's going to help ramp up our yield and our production on all the lowers. And I do have the under canopy lighting, but again, guys, these under canopy lights are very low ppfd. They're maybe 200 ppfd, 300 ppfd, which is just enough to supplement anything that's really low down there. And it's only for the center of the canopy where they're not really getting light. In between the aisle there, we're going to get quite a bit of cross lighting, which is always great, and that's kind of where you want. That's kind of where all of these side buds here are going to get all their nice light, and we'll get that extra weight. So if you notice, I kind of left a lot of the side branches on instead of lollipopping them just as high. Same thing over here on this side, and in the center we went up a little bit higher, but everything's looking fantastic in here, guys. I mean, you can see everything's praying, everything's happy. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're doing in our environment different this week. So this week is day 21. We're going into week 4, full bulking phase. We're dropping the temperature. I know my thermostat says 82 and 62 right now, but that's just because I shut my main fan off in order to make this video, because that thing is super loud and you guys wouldn't be able to hear me. And even with it off, with all the other fans going on in here, it's still quite loud. So air circulation, guys, air circulation, very important. You kind of want your plants dancing, you know. You see everything just giving a little, just a little jiggle, you know. You don't want them all over the place, but just a little jiggle in the leaves. You want your leaves dancing a little bit, you know. Especially if you're gonna get the circulating fans going, just make sure that they're hitting the canopy nice and gentle, and just keeping everything kind of moving. And what that does is get that water vapor off of the leaves, and that dew, like they'll build these little microclimates around their leaves, and the stomata will be releasing vapor, will be exchanging gases and all that stuff, and they tend to want to just like hold little microclimates. So the best way to get rid of those is to just give good adequate air circulation, and the plants love it. The plants love it. So like I was saying, our temperature, it does say 82 right now, but we're dropping it down to 79, and we're rocking about 55% humidity, and the humidity will go down as the temperature goes down. We drop our temperature once again 1 degree a week, and our humidity, we keep it in between. For the first 3 weeks, we keep it in between 70 and 60, and just really try to keep that VPD on point, because we are running higher temperatures. And then as we lower the temperatures, we have to lower the humidity in order to stay in that VPD range to make sure that we're getting optimal growth in here. But that's the environment that we're going to be rocking for the next week. And as far as our irrigation goes, irrigation is now we're coming out of generative, so we're going to go ahead and really make these plants as comfortable as possible, and really put them back into a vegetative style of watering, and really just keep them happy without oversaturating them, and making sure that their drybacks aren't too intense, but just enough to be able to let them get an adequate amount of water every day, because they tend to be drinking a lot right now. But if we water them too late in the day and don't give them the time, allow them the time to dry back overnight, and go ahead and start watering again the next day before they do so, then we're going to start having problems. So what we're doing is we're adding another watering. So we're at 200 mils per watering, 200 milliliters every watering, and we try to get up to fill capacity within the first 2 hours. After the first 2 hours lights come on is when they get their first watering, and then within those 2 hours of their first watering, we want to get them up to fill capacity. So basically what that means is, if my lights turn on at 8 o'clock, I want our first watering to be about 10 o'clock, and within those 2 hours, so by midnight, so by 12 o'clock, I want to be able to reach them to fill capacity, which means I want them fully saturated, not quite to runoff yet. Maybe if they're going to get a little bit of runoff, that's going to be fine, but we don't want any excessive runoff at that point. And then we're gonna do a 2 o'clock watering. So by that point is when we want our first set of runoff to come off, probably about like 10% or so. And then we're gonna do a 4 o'clock watering, and that one should have little to no runoff. And then we're going to do a 6 o'clock watering, and again, little to no runoff on that one as well. But our 12 o'clock, right around 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, around those about 4th or 5th waterings is when we're going to get our most significant amount of runoff. Our runoff is about 5.4 EC right now, because we did do a flush on day 21 because we are switching over from the veg A nutrients and moving on to the veg A and B base, and we're moving on to the bloom nutrients now from crop salts. So we wanted to give them a nice little flush just to kind of get the rest of that out of there and really fill them back up with the bloom formula. So that way they have nothing but that in there. So it did bring the EC down for like a day or two, and now we're starting to stack back up again. So we got down to like 4.2, I think, on our runoff, and now we're back up to 5.4. Input is about 2.7, 2.6, 2.7, and our pH is about anywhere between 5.6 and 5.9. And they're loving it. Plants are loving it. They're eating it up. Another thing that we are doing with the R&D is, I ran PK1314 in the past, but we are adding our PK1314 to our feed. So normally I just run the crop salts, but what I've been trying to experiment with is just adding a booster for a week or two in prime bulking, which is right now. So weeks 4, 5, and 6 are going to be our prime bulking phases, and I'm going to try a couple different boosters, and we're running multiple strains in here. So we got the Skywalker, the Amsterdam, the LA Gelato, and the Mimosa, and we're just going to see how this affects everything. I want a little bit of every kind of genetics in here. So we got all our OGs back there, and then we got all our candies here. And what I really want to do is just see exactly how it's going to affect every strain, every individual strain. And you can see there's one plant here that is reacting a little funny to it, but that could also be just due to when I did hit them with that flush, their blocks got a little oversaturated. So it kind of looks a little bit like they're struggling to transpire there, and just kind of closing themselves up a little bit, because there's just too much water going through their circulatory system. So we're gonna run the PK1314. Hopefully that does good. I'm gonna try that booster. Next run I'll probably try. I've ran Big Bud. I've ran so many different boosters for so many different lines. So I'm probably gonna wind up trying Big Bud. I think I tried Tiger Bloom from Fox Farms, I think it is. I might try that, but that's a very generic booster. But the Big Bud I've used in the past. Big Bud I ran for years. Big Bud from Advanced, and with multiple different bases. So pretty much what we're trying to do is just see if we can find a booster that's going to really elevate our bulking phase, and try to get rid of it as soon as possible. Switch over to the cake while we're ripening, and just get the results that we need. But other than that, guys, I mean, everything's banging in here. PK1314 is kind of like right on point with the pH. I'm not really having to mess with the pH up or down. I'm not having to rock that too much, or mess with the pH of the water too much, which is good, because you use too much of that stuff and you're gonna wind up just chasing your tail with the pH and trying to keep everything in range, and things fluctuate more often when you have to start adding a bunch of acids to the water. So yeah, guys, I mean, you guys see everything's banging in here. I mean, I can't ask for anything better. For 12 days of veg, the size that these plants got up to is surprising to me, because usually I run 2 weeks, 17 days sometimes to veg, but these clones were super healthy. They took off super fast, and the results are speaking for themselves. I'm very excited to see where these things get to by the time we're in mid-bulk, you know. We just started bulking right now, so I can imagine what they're gonna look like in you know, 2 weeks. They're gonna look fantastic. So let me know if you guys have any comments, questions. Let me know if I missed anything. All the other lights are banging at 100% except for these two. So we're gonna see how that reacts as well, and what the cross lighting is gonna look like in the middle section of the row right there. And hopefully we get some results. I may or may not turn those up mid-flower. I just gotta see how these plants react first and see how they're doing once they actually start putting on some weight. And if they're responding well, I might try just bumping the light up a little bit. But yeah, guys, everything's looking fucking great. I'm super stoked, super happy with the results so far, and hopefully things keep trending the way that they are. And I'll keep you guys tuned in. Hopefully this week sometime I'll make another video in the larger facility so you guys can see exactly what's going on in there. I know it's been a while since I made a video in there, but I did just do a room reset. I posted a short about that. Just a quick little montage of me resetting the room. And I started making you guys a video on a different camera. My microphone didn't wind up working. So, you know, I wasted 20-30 minutes of my day trying to make you guys a video, and I get home and none of it recorded. So let me get my spirits back up to go ahead and make that video for you guys. But other than that, those of you guys still around, sticking around, appreciate all the love on the last video. Super hyped. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. Please let me know if there's anything particular that you guys want me to talk about, or if there's anything that I'm missing. I'm trying to be as informative as possible without being overly, I guess, technical. I don't want to be too technical, you know. But there's a lot of you guys. All you guys are intelligent. Everybody that's growing this plant, you know, you got a little bit of knowledge. So, and I'm here to share mine, and hopefully you guys can share yours. You guys got any comments, anything, any advice, anything like that you guys can see or want to recommend, let me know and I'll take it into consideration. But as always, guys, appreciate you guys. Happy farming, and tune in next week, hopefully this week, for another vid on the larger facility, and we'll see you guys then. But happy farming as always. Peace.